Okay, so I've got some friends together and we're talking about Battlefield 4. Now, this video is going to concentrate on what we want to see in Battlefield 4. Everyone in this channel has a bit of a different opinion, of course, about what they want to see, their thoughts on BF3. So I thought it'd be quite interesting to get everyone together, have some talking points, and just a little bit of a roundtable discussion. So, if you could pick a feature that you'd like in Battlefield 4, you know, what would be your number one feature to see in the game?
I'll say this is pretty much confirmed considering some of the footage we've seen, but naval battles and things like that, like more water-based warfare, is what I'd like to see in the multiplayer. Maybe even like battleships and carriers that you can actually move and stuff like that. But like I said, that considering the stuff we've seen, it's pretty much just going to be something along those lines. I don't know how deep it's going to be, but I'm happy about that at the moment.
So you like to see naval battles. Do you remember how incredibly boring the submarines were, though, in 1942?
No, that's exactly what I want to see. What I want to see is a submarine you can pilot with like 5 people that actually has an interior that you can walk around. Obviously, this is madness and will never happen, but imagine that, like a submarine like interior all fully modelled out that you can like walk around.
No, thinking about it, that would be pretty cool.
I would like snowmobiles and...
Gorgy!
No.
Didn't they say snowmobiles are for pussies? Dice, I think they said that.
I don't give a shit what Dice said. If we're in the snow...
I think you better consider they're making the game.
Is that their tagline? Snowmobiles are for pussies.
I think it is.
And as I was saying, in the snowy environments, snow fucking vehicles that have been designed to run in the snow would be advisable. Also, grappling hooks, I want one.
Yeah.
Like that expansion, Special Forces.
Special Forces.
Yeah. Like for BF2, that was my favourite expansion. I played the fucking tits out of it. Also, let me throw the C4. Why can't I do that?
You can sword throw it.
Good point.
I mean, no, you can't. You
No,
can
but you
put
can't
it in front
hoik
of your
it.
feet. You can literally go. You can be sprinting towards somebody, and then there's a tank driving past, and rather than just go ah! And like throw the C4, you have to go. No, I've got to touch it. I've got to be touching it.
It should be left click should be the normal just place, and then maybe like hold down right click to hoik it.
Yeah, like a satchel charge. You should be able to just literally go ah! And just throw it, and then you could get it to land on a tank as it drives through a bridge or something.
So that'd make the support
I don't
class
like
more
this
viable.
whole... Yeah, I don't like the whole having to literally be on top of something to see for it. It makes me angry.
Good.
What about you, Jord? What do you want to see in BF4?
Well, there's a few gameplay tweaks, particularly server side. I think the apparent rubber banding when it comes to being able to shoot around when they're running around corners and you still manage to kill them. That's obviously a netcode problem, and it's something that, because my background in Counter-Strike and a lot of the guys here background is Counter-Strike, and it's a game, it's particularly like 1.6, 1.5, it's a game that was very unforgiving when it came to hit reg, and I think that's something that Battlefield, especially if it wants to become a more competitive title, needs to perhaps adopt. I haven't played the game on LAN. I don't even know if you can play it on LAN.
Nope.
But from experience on playing on servers, it's the whole, on your screen you're around the corner, but yet you still died. Is it's the interp is I think the correct term for it. It's something that I definitely feel needs to be addressed. In terms of an overall game sort of thing, I still think that the user interface, particularly for the loadouts and stuff like that, needs to be like reworked. I mean, we've got all these new games coming out now, like Loadout, for example, is a good example of a good system for customizing your gun. I mean, I remember at E3 we saw that crazy Connect demo. I think it was one of the Ghost Recon games for customizing your gun. And I think that's the direction they need to go in terms of the user interface for your loadout. And I still think that maybe I think the whole experience of when you join a game and join your squad is still a bit clunky and could be improved. And that's what I would like to see an improvement.
When BF3 first came out, the fucking squad thing didn't work, did it?
That's terrible.
Join or leave squads or some shit. I mean, they need to really make sure they don't fuck up with the start because that pissed me off to no end.
Yeah.
Along, with among other things. But that was the main issue, that I couldn't fucking play with my friends. Come on. But
Should be more prepared this time, you'd think.
Yeah,
You'd hope.
on competitive, I'd really like to see like a game mode that, like, obviously Battlefield's got conquest and stuff like that, and there are game modes that fit the Battlefield thing. But on a competitive level, like 6v6, 8v8, they need to build in like a game mode, like George said, with really good hit reg. That maybe it's got one tank or one Humvee, and it's very team orientated and
Counter-Strike
a
mode.
little bit more. Well, yeah, just make Counter-Strike on the Frostbite 2 engine. Go on.
But the problem is, it's that it needs the engine needs to be worked in a certain way that sorts the hit reg problems for that to be viable. It's just not acceptable that you see one thing and someone else sees the other. There needs to be some sort of it needs to be the same. Along that theory, I think that something that Battlefield, if they decide that they want to go the esports route and do esports stuff, which I know you want, Jack, they need to do it. They need to implement matchmaking. You look at all these games now. You look at League of Legends, Dota, Counter-Strike Go, StarCraft. The reason why they're so successful in terms of the popularity when it comes to esports is because it's so easy to jump into a competitive game. It's so accessible. I mean, the problem with Battlefield 3 games at the moment is you have to go, unless you use like ESL, you have to go on IRC. It's an old way of getting games. They need to implement a matchmaking system. They need to utilize Battlelog for that, and that's what I think they should. That's what I think
whatever
they should
do, don't talk to Creative Assembly because they've got no idea what they're doing.
Absolutely random tangent.
Who's
just
Creative
thrown in
Assembly?
No,
Just a random
they make so
hit
good
on
Total
Creative
War,
Assembly for their lobby system for Total War.
Oh, I see.
Never mind.
Good shit.
I mean, just imagine like you've got four to six friends, and you're just six of you, and you think, oh, I'll just play a match on Battlefield, and how good it would be to party up in Battlelog, click a find matchmaking button, and it do the work for you. Now, I know the problem with that is going to be servers, because the reason why Dota and LoL and all these other games can do it is because they host servers like their side, like the company actually runs the servers, and I know that Battlefield 3, I imagine the server was like the amount of processing power serving each of Battlefield 3 is quite high, so it's whether they'd be able to do that.
Well, they do have their own
but I
servers.
They
definitely
could adopt
think-
the ASL route.
If there was a system for matchmaking where you could select your own server, like you party up or whatever, and then you select your, like you've got a server and you say I want to use my own server, tick box, and you've got the details for. And so so server on, and put the details of the server and the password in
And
there.
I get your point that ESL do it, but I mean, ESL do it on a small scale. How many people play like ESL games? Like 300-400 people. If you give this to everyone who plays Battlefield, the amount of servers they're going to need can be astronomical. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, well, the thing is that they've got like the money of EA behind them essentially. So if they wanted to do it, if they wanted to like fucking smash open the competitive scene for like the next gen, then they've got the resources to do it. You'd think.
Good.
So are Valve though. I mean, Valve's matchmaking servers are terrible because there has to be so many of them. They just can't afford to have top-notch servers.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like CS:GO matchmaking servers, 60 tick rate. It's sometimes you shoot someone in the head and then half a second later they die. It's a big difference.
Well, CS:GO.
I think
Haven't
it's
they
a
patched
bad.
that, though?
No, the matchmaking servers I think are a bad indication of CS:GO. To be honest,
Yeah.
the servers are such low quality because of the mass of
That's the
them.
only thing I played CS:GO and I friggin' hate it. And I love the old counters. I prefer Source, which is sent a lot.
I mean, when you play CS:GO on a 100 tick server compared to 60, it's a lot
I
nicer.
don't think I've ever done that, so. Anyway, that's CS:GO. You're going off on a tangent. Quick, next question. Or next
But
point.
that's a lesson right there, isn't it? I mean, that's a lesson for EA. If they want to do it, they can take a lesson from Valve and go, look, there was such an uproar about 60 tick servers that if they're going to do it, they need to provide. Yeah, they need to provide quality servers because otherwise it's a bad service.
Yeah. Okay. So far, we've got improvements to the UI, matchmaking. The hit reg is a big thing, especially if DICE want to look into esports. That's a massive issue. Hadz, what are your top 3 wants for BF4?
I've got a couple of serious ones and one non-serious one. I'm going to give you the non-serious one first.
Okay.
I want to see dinosaurs.
Really?
I want some dinosaur DLC.
Dino Horde mode.
Dino DLC.
Yeah, just look at a
It's a-
Dino beatdown. Do everything different. Done.
Not in the main game, but I would like to see either one or two things. I would like to see a 2142 DLC or a
2143.
Dino mode. Well, 2143, yeah.
So how would that Dino mode be
But-
represented? Would it be like Dino Riders like PvP, where you can ride on a T-Rex and shoot
Dino
lasers?
Riders.
Shoot lasers?
See, now that would be great.
Or would it be co-op, like a grind.
Do a horde
I read
mode.
something. I read something the other day, and I don't know how true it was because it said it was just speculation that somebody had claimed that they had encountered an EA questionnaire that had gone around on the internet, and it had like names for DLCs and what people would want, and it had like a selection. And supposedly it had a DLC saying whether people would be interested in like a Dino DLC. I don't think they'd do it, but it's just a bit of fun. But as a serious one, I think everything that's been said so far is great. The reg is a huge thing, but I think for the game to succeed esports, the number one thing it needs is spectator mode. That is the one it has to have. Otherwise, as we know, with the same thing will happen as it did with Battlefield 3 in terms of esports. It'll just die a death.
Yeah, I mean it has to have it, doesn't it? Really, spectator mode.
It just has to. It has to have spectator mode. The reg needs to be improved. I mean, they did improve it somewhat with the latency slider. If you put that latency slider all the way to the left, I encountered a lot less times when I was being shot around walls. The problem is that it's just like interp on CS. It depends really what the other person's using.
It still happens though, even when it's all the way to the left, doesn't it?
That slider just breaks my game.
It still happens.
It's just a game breaker slider for me. I don't really understand.
I've never seen that slider in my whole life.
It's like an afterthought. It's like, essentially, the way I understand it is that the game has like imagine the game has a latency for everything to be brought to your screen. What the slider does is it reduces that latency. It takes away all that latency, but at the downside is it can cause graphical bugs. Yeah, it can cause graphical bugs.
Giraffe head neck man.
Yeah.
On fucking
No, not quite as bad as that. Not quite as bad as the alpha.
Pirouettes on the spot and stuff, and knife animations are completely
people
broken.
do pirouettes and things look weird, and the explosions particularly look broken. Well, mine do anyway. Like they had like a couple of frames of animation rather than the full. I don't know. I don't like it. It makes the game look crap. And I know it's like, oh well, it's better because you can hit people, but that's not really acceptable. It just looks like shit. So.
It is like the knife animation does look terrible when you've got it all the way to the left. It looks horrible.
Yeah. I mean, something like that slider shouldn't be in the game at all, really, should it? You know what I mean?
No, it should be uniform and it should be fucking decent. But that's what we're talking about, isn't it?
It's a plaster.
It's exactly like when they said, you know, when you spawn into the game, if you're spawning on a teammate or you're spawning in, and there's this black screen that you get. Sometimes the black screen can be a second, sometimes it can be instant, and you don't even notice it. And they said that they can't get rid of it because it's loading resources every time, and that's why you get this black screen. And it's almost like they can't, due to the engine, they can't get rid of that latency. It's like it's a requirement.
The way the engine's built, I guess.
Well, it seems that way to me. I don't think that's going to get much better, to be honest.
What was your third serious point, Hadz?
Map design. It's one of the gripes I have with Battlefield 3. I get the feeling with Battlefield 3, and this is not just from an esports perspective, but even from public, a lot of the maps were designed for one mode in mind, Rush or Conquest, and they've just thrown the other modes in on top of them. So they can say, oh, every mode for every map, but a lot of maps don't work on every mode. You know, Metro and Damavan, they work very well as rush maps, but Conquest, they're pretty poor. I just wish they would put a little bit more thought into map design and have less linearity and more of what Battlefield's about, really.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me as well. You know, if they design a map for the game mode rather than design it for a game mode and then just chuck everything else on top just to say, oh look, we've got this, you can play it if you want. You know, that's not necessarily a good thing, is it really?
No, I think for them just to have it to say you can play Metro on every single game mode, I would rather have a map that is designed for a certain game mode and only play it on that game mode rather than have it, you know, have a rush map that is really good, but then on Conquest it's utterly terrible. And I think some of the maps were clearly designed for one game mode and just they didn't really think too much about the others, I don't think.
Okay, cool. So we covered some stuff there. I've got some talking points as well, which I thought would be quite interesting. First of all, DICE have confirmed that there's going to be no co-op for Battlefield 4. How do you guys feel about that, considering...
Oh no, it was so good!
It was amazing, wasn't it, in BF4? How do you guys feel about that? Do you care?
That's really confusing, considering what they said at that press event. They were harking on about how the single player experience is supposed to be like a real life, is like playing the multiplayer game. Part of what makes Battlefield so great is when you jump on with a squad of 4 friends. So why they'd eliminate the co-op mode? It just seems that makes no logical sense.
To be able to play the campaign as co-op, I don't know why they haven't implemented it as such. Like, rather than have a separate co-op campaign, which obviously was dross and a complete afterthought. Why isn't the campaign? Well, I'm pretty sure during the campaign you're almost more or less always going to be with a squad of some sort. I don't exactly know how it's designed because obviously it's not out, but you know, surely it's going to have 2 or 3 or 4. But if you could play it as a 4, the whole campaign, that would be pretty good. But obviously they've already confirmed they're not doing that. I don't really understand why they haven't designed it that way though.
Just look at Halo. I mean, Halo, just, you know, you can play the Halo campaign. There's a co-op 2 people, and it doesn't affect the story at all. The fact you're in co-op.
No, you just play as a double, Master Chief.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's
I
very
don't
fun
care
as well,
if I'm
isn't
having
it?
a good time. Yeah, Halo's brilliant co-op. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. It seems it's perplexing as to why they've done that.
To be honest, I actually think that they shouldn't do any single player, but that's not going to happen because of the console market. But like, personally, I didn't complete the Battlefield 3 single player. I got bored and I just got stuck into the multiplayer because that's what it's about.
Well, they said, I read an interview with them actually about a month ago after they revealed the game. You know, a lot of people were saying on on Reddit and on forums, oh, why don't you just get rid of the single player game? And one of the lead devs said, well, we've got stats that prove some people just play our single player game and then don't play multiplayer.
Maybe they haven't got the internet.
But they don't know that that's new people to the. That'll be new people to the franchise though, won't it? It's not going to be people who've played 1942 and Battlefield 2 and everything. They're going to be people who've, you know, maybe just kids, like, you know, young or adolescents, young teenagers who've just got a console, or they've got a console and they've got, oh, a new shooter, it's a bit like Call of Duty, and just buy it, like, and they don't.
Or they're just idiots.
Yeah.
Who gets Battlefield
Yeah,
just for single player, really?
Yeah.
It's very true.
On a mildly serious note about the Dino mode, I've been having a think.
Oh, God.
And no, hear me out. Basically, yeah, have it like a horde mode, like on Gears or whatever. You have a team of 4, and just fucking dinosaurs everywhere. Or have it like Zombie Escape, that mod, where you start off as a massive team, and then as the raptors pick you off, they turn into raptors. I've drawn a little picture. I'll put it in my comment now. that would illustrate what could potentially happen, and I think that DICE need to, you know.
What the fuck? You savage.
That's great, Adam. Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
there's the
God,
gun
yeah,
there
it's
and
good.
everything, and Clever Girl, you know, referencing Jurassic Park there. Yeah, DICE need to hire you as an artist, man. What are they playing at?
I don't understand why you haven't been hired already.
Is that a crossbow or a shotgun? I can't tell.
It's both.
It's a boat.
Crossbow shotgun.
Yeah. But that there could be a co-op mode. So, or
I think
But then, if there's no
I think
co-op,
the thing
then
they have to
there's
be
no
careful
Dino
with-
mode, is there?
the thing they have to be careful with, I think, with that is that if they put it on as a horde mode, everyone's just going to go, oh, well, they just copied Nazi zombies, but with dinosaurs instead. And I do
Yeah,
get
who
why
gives a
they have
shit?
hesitation for doing that. But
The
I
thing
know,
is, though,
but you know,
that Nazi zombies has only come about because like of other games that they've ripped off as well. Like, everything's just a copy of something else. Like, so just do it.
Why were we talking about something else, and then you just randomly interjected with that picture?
It was about the co-op.
Yeah, co-op.
Alright,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, well, I suppose that's related.
Yeah, so you feel, I mean, the BF3 co-op did seem very last minute and very tacked on, and it felt to me like DICE just
I would
added
like
it.
I would like a developer to explain themselves for that, to be honest. So if you're listening, explain yourself. Send me a message.
What were you going to say, Hadz?
I think they've just realised that co-op was like the in thing and thought they'd just bang it on. I think they realise now that people that play Battlefield don't really care about single player, and the co-op mode was just some rehashed single player missions, really.
Especially as you had to play it to unlock guns, though.
Oh, God,
and
yeah.
Not only did you have to play it, you had to play it 50 times when it came out or whatever to actually get enough points to unlock. It was
I still
absolutely
haven't
obscene.
unlocked all the guns through it because I just didn't like playing it.
Well, you can buy the
I
shortcut
don't
if
think
you
I
want,
have
Andy.
either, actually.
Like,
I should have done that.
the one mission with the helicopter. where like you just flew around.
Untextured world mission, yeah.
Yeah. It was terribly badly textured. It'd been terribly put together, and it's just like an insult to the gamers. Like I'd have much rather it just not be.
Yep.
Obviously, some fucking MD.
Well, that's why they've said they're
got
not
to have
having
co-op. It's got to be in. And they went, all right, okay.
Well, Modern Warfare 3 had
I mean,
it,
you don't have to.
and it came out at the same time.
You don't have to release a game. You don't have to release a game for single player on console. I mean, Orange Box is an example on the PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360. It's a game that's purely got. I mean, apart from Portal, I guess, but that is a great game. But like loads of people, like I mean, TF2 is quite well. I say it's relatively popular on Xbox 360 and PS3. So I mean, it's not the be all and end all, you know.
I think it's just because of the competition with COD, isn't it? And COD have had so much experience over the years at building single player campaigns that, to be honest, they're really fucking good. Like it's like watching a fucking film. Like,
Oh, they're
it's
good
a bit
though.
about
Have you played
how-
Modern Warfare 2 and 3?
No, not them. But like prior to that.
Yeah.
They've been pretty bad for the past few years, though. The single players
Yeah.
have been
I
pretty...
like my last one I liked was Modern Warfare. That was absolutely brilliant.
What was
And
that
one
one?
of
Well, that was
top
the best
single
one.
players
Right
ever
at
made.
the end. Right at the end, you're like on a bridge and you get like a slow bullet time thing where you get to shoot somebody with a pistol.
All of them.
Yeah, that's pretty much how they all end. Shoot
Not talking
someone
about
with a
COD, right?
pistol.
Come on, Jack. Next point will be all bloody night.
Okay, right. Next point was so obviously Battlefield 3 multiplayer. It's got the suppression in it. How do you guys feel about suppression? Do you think it should be changed so you just get a visual effect and it doesn't affect your recoil on your bullets? Because at the moment, someone shoots at you, you can have a shotgun point blank range and you miss because you're suppressed. Do you think it should be the same or changed?
I'm gonna be
I
honest.
think
I've never had a problem with suppression. I've never ran around and gone, I can't believe it, I was suppressed and I wasn't able to kill him. I've never felt that way. I've never felt that I've been cheated by suppression. I've never felt that like it's been a game hindrance, that it's ruined my game experience. Like I know a lot of people have complained about it repeatedly when we've been playing as friends as well. A lot of people, Will, have been complaining about it more or less constantly. But I don't understand what the problem with it is. It really hasn't affected. I like it. It's a good mechanic, and I don't think they should get rid of it at all. I've never had a problem with it, but that's just me, I guess. I know people have had a massive problem with it, but personally, I think it's brilliant. I think it's just a good mechanic to have. It makes sense to me in my head. You know, you're getting shot at. You know, you can't just fucking turn around 180 and just shoot someone if you're being shot at. Like that's it. You need to. I know people have a problem with it, but I don't.
I agree with Tom completely, except I disagree.
You're talking about shotgun, aren't you?
Yeah. The fact that when you're suppressed, your bullets come out at 90-degree angles is bullshit. Like,
But there's no other way they could program it, though.
If my shotgun is in someone's fucking mouth and I pull the trigger, he's dead. I don't give a shit if I'm suppressed. The shotgun is... But I actually think that maybe the visual effects should be worse. And maybe your character should start crying.
Water coming down the screen.
I love
From a gameplay perspective, they can't make the suppression any other way. Like, if your screen just goes fuzzy, then who cares? Like, people can still play with that. It doesn't matter. Like,
No,
you can still aim.
make it fucking mental, so like they literally can't.
No, that would be horrible, Bong. Then 90% of the game, you would just be looking through a kaleidoscope or something. No, it's not
most of the
feasible.
time I'm fucking blinded by the sun anyway. Yeah, turn the sun down.
The side.
There's another feature, the sun.
So it's all about suppression. Me and Bong have.
I don't think it's necessary. I think that suppression is for realistic shooters such as Armour. I think that's that effect of the whole being suppressed and not being able to fire. That's for a game like Armour. I think Battlefield, which borders on the area of arcade shooter, and just Counter-Strike sort of with vehicles. It's not necessary. It ruins the twitch aspect of the game, in my opinion. It ruins the gunplay to a certain extent because it stalls the gunplay, and I think Battlefield's the game that is at its best when the gunplay is really smooth.
But it just means that everybody plays Assault in that case because support's useless.
Well, this is another
I
topic.
think support's useless. I think there's a couple of ways they could solve. But when Battlefield came out, and they said that suppression was going to be in the game, but it wasn't in very much at all. You barely even noticed it was there. Then they released that patch and whacked it up, and the game was horrible to play. Like when you play ESL matches, it was just horrible. One person would be shooting at you that you're not even shooting at, and they would completely screw you over. And there's just two solutions: make it server side, so make it an option that can be turned on and off, which would be great for esports. Public people can have it on, or just move it to the support class, and only the support class causes suppression.
Yeah.
I actually agree with that.
I think that's a great
Maybe
idea.
not just a support class, but it should be maybe weapon based.
I don't think it should be server-side option, because I think the problem is with esports. I mean, the reason why StarCraft and League of Legends and all these games are popular is because the game you play in the normal game is what is the competitive mode as well. So I think having like on and off switches for things are a bad idea. I think it should be the game that you play in public is the same game you play. The only difference should be the mode.
No, I agree with what you're saying. The only difference I would say is like Call of Duty 4 was a massively competitive game, but when you were playing it in a match, it was completely different. Completely different from public.
Loads of different stuff.
It was
all the perks were reduced.
Yeah, it was a completely different game. Yeah, it was still.
It was a lot better though, the game as well. Well, actually, it wasn't a lot better, but it was really. I played COD 4, the Modern Warfare in a clan.
Yeah, but that was only. You got to remember, that was limited only to PC. Like you couldn't. That was all you could do that for was PC. You had to have the mod tools. You couldn't do that on console. So already there, you're alienating two aspects of your audience.
Yeah, I think it's a tricky one really, because if you look at something like Counter-Strike, which is the top, historically speaking, the best esports first-person shooter, right? The public game is exactly the same as the game that you can play competitively.
Except for when you're playing a zombie escape map or a jump map or deathmatch or
yeah, but on a public server on Dust 2, you're playing Demolition. It's the same.
But like what Jordan was saying, have no server settings that you can change. I think you definitely should, because it enables people.
No,
to make their own little
I think
times have changed.
Misinterpreted
Times have changed, and I reckon if you I mean, I said this in a recent video. If you build the balanced game first, something that works well as a game itself in a competitive sense, you can build an esports mode around it. And like George said, the reason that StarCraft and Dota and LoL are so popular is because the average Joe can join in, he can join a ladder, and he can get himself a rank, and he's playing the same game that the pros are playing. He knows what to expect.
It's true.
Yeah, I agree. But if that was their mentality of thinking, then I think suppression should go. I think it's just unnecessary. It ruins the gameplay to a certain extent.
Yeah. So this is what a lot of people have said, that it ruins the game. But as I said when I first talked, like I really don't. It hasn't affected. But I haven't played like loads of Battlefield ESL matches or anything like that. I've played a couple. I played a few clan matches and stuff. Not loads, because I didn't like it, because it just didn't feel competitive anyway as a game. Overall, to be honest, like it was a bit of fun. I played it with Jack and a few other people, but I just didn't feel it was at all viable as a competitive game. Mainly because of the whole insert problem, which we've covered before, and the map design as well. But the suppression never really bothered me. But to be fair, I liked your idea of having a weapon-based, well, class or weapon-based would be pretty good. Shotguns and light machine guns can suppress, and that was it. That'd be good.
I think that would work quite well. And it kind of serves two purposes. I think it keeps suppression in the game, but albeit a limited amount. And it kind of still doesn't affect esports, because no matter what happens with Battlefield 4, I know they'll balance the classes.
It's gonna be assault only.
Yes, the chances are most players are still going to use assault rifles for mobility, so I don't think suppression would have too much an effect on esports.
It creates actually quite an interesting tactic if you think about it. If you give these classes specific like extra things that can alter the gameplay. I mean, you take a look. I mean, I keep using like LoL and Dota as like an example, but I mean, you play Dota. Not everyone plays the same type of hero. People play hard carries. People play they play types of heroes that provide certain things. Now, you're talking in the 6 versus 6 match, for example. There's going to be an opportunity for a support to provide something to the team that's going to benefit the whole team, and it's just a case of making it so it is beneficial and worth having in a match. And that's when I think things could get interesting, because it could be 6v6 match, and then like we're going to see all these teams come up with really interesting strats where they utilise a different amount of support compared to assault, compared to snipers, etc. I think that could be an interesting dynamic.
I think suppression would have to be slightly changed in the fact that, like you said, the whole if it was competitive, talking competitively, then yeah, the whole reducing your aim to like bullets coming out of your gun at 90-degree angles is going to have to be changed. I'd maybe change suppression to the screen effect, and perhaps rather than making your aim just absolute dog shit, slow your character down. Like make it so your guy runs at half speed or something while you're suppressed or something like that, so that you know it's harder to get into cover. Or if you're caught out in the open, that's pretty much it. If you've been suppressed, I don't know. It had to be changed somehow.
Okay, something that we touched on there as well to do with the classes. So this will be the final talking point as well, because we've gone on for quite a while now. But yeah, so it's obvious, like if you play a lot of Battlefield 3, that the best class is the assault class. Okay, he's got the best weapons. He's got a med kit, so he can heal people. He's got smoke launchers, grenade launchers, and he's also got defibs, which bring people back from the dead and get tickets back for your team.
And he's got tons of bitches.
He shags everyone. So aside from that, recon is pretty useless. Support is okay, but you have to get very close to vehicles to destroy them. And engineer is probably the best balanced class in my opinion. But yeah, assault obviously the best class. They get the best weapons, they get the best gear. So do you think that they'll change things up maybe for BF4? If maybe they could make the recon better by giving him the C4, like they had in BC2, or the mortars. They could They could give the ammo to the assault, and they could give the medkit to the support.
Three words, Jack. Bring back medic. There's no reason for the assault and the medic class to be combined. That's bullshit. I don't like that at all. There should just be a different class for medic.
So you think that's what makes them overpowered?
Yeah. It's bullshit. I don't like the fact that you can heal themselves as well. It's just bollocks.
The problem with assault is there's no negative aspect of assault really, apart from not having any sort of explosive. That's it. I don't understand why an easy solution, in my opinion, would be to at least add some sort of cooldown time to defibs. The fact you can just sit there and run around spamming defibs, it just seems obscene to me.
Yeah.
There's like no drawback.
Shouldn't have defibs and shouldn't have a med pack. It's bullshit.
I don't mind defibs. I just think defibs should be like for example, I'm thinking in a competitive example, if two of your team die, you go bang bang, they're both up. Like it should be bang and then a 10-second cooldown, and so you've got to protect that teammate that's dead for 10 seconds. If you think so, then it becomes an issue of do you try and keep that res for 10 seconds and hold on to your position, or do you think okay, well he's dead, we need to carry on pushing and get this bomb down, etc. That's the way I look at it.
I think
that's good.
Give the defibs an animation. So you press them on the guy, and your guy kneels down next to him, goes beep, rubs them together, and then shocks him. And so it takes like 4 seconds to do the animation. It's not fucking the end of the world that it takes time, but it means that you can't literally, like George said, go res, everyone's up.
So it's a risk.
Same with medpack.
I would say,
and you have to expose yourself because you're kneeling down and you're a target.
For me, I don't see the point. Like you said, support is pretty much useless. Well, not pretty much useless, but not great. Recon's pretty much useless. I'm ignoring recon because I don't really know what to do about that. Like I said earlier, I would combine engineer and support. I don't see why they're different classes. And then have medic and assault. So assault, medic, and then you could call it engineer or support. And then something's got to be done about recon, but it's still got to be in there like a sniper-y class. So it'd be assault, medic, engineer, and recon as the classes. And the medics would have the carbines as opposed to engineer. And the engineer would have now the light machine guns, shotguns, and then you could choose C4 or rocket launchers. So I know that reduces the amount of anti-tank though that you've got in terms of different classes, but I would change recon to have some kind of anti-tank or something. I don't know.
I think that's quite an interesting idea. Andy, I know you mentioned about like just have suppression on the support guns. You think if that was the case, support would get used in like 5v5 competitive matches?
I think only if suppression warranted it. I think suppression at the current level, probably not. I don't think it warrants going support. It's more downside, really. I think the idea of bringing the medic class back is quite a good idea, though. Having the main rifles on assault. The main thing I think that's overpowered is the med kits are kind of overpowered. You can just sit on a corner on a med pack, you get hit, you go back into cover with the best guns. I like the idea of having the defibs on a cooldown. I think that makes sense. I don't like them being so slow though, because it kind of slows down the game. I like the idea of just nipping around a corner, reviving someone, but a 10-second cooldown or something would be quite cool. I think something that you would, if you're going to keep the assault class the way it is with the med pack, in terms of like competitive gaming, you have to give the smoke grenades to a different class. I think, because right now, if you were playing a 5v5 for instance, there is really no reason whatsoever to use any other class other than medic. You can use a sniper, but
they need some help.
yeah, if you're in trouble and you crack out a smoke grenade, you've still got the best weapons. You just lose a med pack. You don't really sacrifice anything at all.
Yeah, and if you're playing in a
There needs to be
in a team like that, you know, you don't really have a risk because you know that you're going to get revived anyway. You know, other people have got medkits.
yeah. There needs to be some sort of. You need to take that away. You need to give smoke to other people. I like the idea of having C4 back on the sniper class as well, and maybe just bring back medic and completely separate them.
Maybe give C4 to recon, and then, like I said, if I would combine the engineer and support so that they're like, you know, you can have mines and rocket launchers and like machine guns on them, and carbines on the medic.
Maybe do like maybe have like assaults, like you have to branch it. So maybe you touched on this, but like, so they can't have a grenade launcher if they've got the medic stuff, and if they've got the medic stuff,
they can't. The thing is, they can't have a med pack if you've got a grenade launcher. Is that right?
Yeah, you basically your grenade
they still
launcher
get
goes
the
in your
defibs.
med pack. You still get the
Yeah,
defibs, yeah.
So
Well,
they
maybe
shouldn't
defibs
have
and med pack
defibs.
is one thing then. So medic attachments,
Yeah, like a medic
one
kit
thing.
or an assault kit. So your assault kit comes with your grenade pack. Three or four grenades.
Well, that's
and a
essentially
grenade launcher.
making two classes, isn't it? But you know,
Well, no, because
switch
it
on
should still be on one class, assault, but you have like assault that's more kind of anti-infantry and assault that's more healy infantry.
Medic then.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I like medic. I'll be honest. When Battlefield 3 came out, well, before it came out, and they announced all the classes, and you could see what it was, I thought it was fucking madness that the assault class was able, like, with the assault rifles and everything, had the med pack and the defibs. I was like, is this fucking? Are they mental? I thought it was mad. No one seemed to really care, and I was like, that sounds fucking mad to me, but whatever. And then now everyone's saying, yeah, it's the best class. It's overpowered. Yeah, it is. It has been since day one. Like, I've always thought it would be as well.
I think the support class needs a big boost. Like, needs more power. I think the suppression needs to be its thing.
Yeah.
Also,
And you need to be able to throw
like-
C4 a country mile.
yeah, and I think if like a tank explodes next to you, like about 5 meters away, you need to get fucked up. Because at the moment, you could be stood on top of a tank when it blows up, and it doesn't hurt you. Like pretty much, anyway. Like if a tank blew up outside my fucking house, I'd know about it.
Oh dear. Right, okay, I think we should wrap it up now, guys, but that was good. So I want to finish off by asking everyone in the channel how you feel about Battlefield 4 in 3 words, okay? So we're going to start with Adam. 3 words, Battlefield 4.
More shotguns, please.
Jordan?
Good fucking luck.
Hadz?
Off my tits.
And finally, Tommy.
Said it before, bring back medic.
There you go. So I think we've pretty much solved the problem there of Battlefield 4. Awesome. Right. Thanks for watching, guys, and everyone say goodbye.
Bye!
Goodbye.
I'll see you.
In the next one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not music.